Thank you for pointing that one out. Today we're going to finish going through the sapphire gravel. Found a few pretty good ones just handpicking yesterday with my wife, and I think today what we're going to do is try something a little different and finish going through it with a transmitted light method by building a light table. If we can't go to the sun, we'll bring the sun to us. Had a 1x4x8 board that I cut two parallel dados into that were about a 1/4 inch diameter because that was the smallest size that I had. And cut that board into 4 lengths. 2 were 24 3/4, using the first one to measure the second one. And then the 2 smaller ones were 17 1/4. And those were the same length, fortunately. And then used foil tape to make the interior shiny. So lining it up and sticking it on. That's just HVAC tape. It was a little big for this size board, so I'll cut it down in a few moments. Use a spare board to trim off the excess ends. And there, now both grooves are exposed. And then did that the same for a 1/4 inch piece of plywood. Just taped it all up, leaving a little bit at the edge because it was going to be covered in the dados anyway. And I cut a piece of 36x24 plastic acrylic sheet in 2 and drilled a close to 1/2 inch hole in the end of one board off screen, of course. Perfect camera skills there. And now it's time to assemble the board into the appropriate slots. I had to make one of the slots bigger in order to fit the 1/4 inch board. So I just did a slight pass adjustment for the second one for the dados there. Do a dry fit and put the lights inside. This was an 8-foot LED strip, just a soft white light. In retrospect, I might have gone a little bit longer. This was enough for 4 passes in this size board. Might have been nice to have a little bit more, but it did work pretty well overall. And I had to use some extra packing tape to stick it down because that adhesive tape on the strip wasn't that great. And take off the protective film and slide it on. And so this is one. It was about 0.1 inches, so 2 of them were 0.2 inches or so, and that helped make it a little foggier too. And I pre-drilled and countersunk a little bit in before adding the screws and assembling it all together. It's a little bit foggier than it looks in the camera view, especially when I turn it on. The brightness will adjust very quickly, and it looks like it's a big major strips, but it's a lot less obvious than that they're just strips underneath. And then that's what sapphires look like on top of it. And it's done. Finally have a light box ready to go to look at some sapphires, which are semi-transparent in transmitted light here. I think you can see that pretty well. So we got our 3 bags of separates, and I'm going to go through and pick them one by one, put them in our little container here. I don't think I'll even take out the 1/2 inch or greater than 1/2 inch fraction, just because I'm 99% sure there's nothing of value in here. There's no light coming through anywhere. Yeah. Move on to the 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Excuse me, Sokka. Put down a piece of parchment paper to protect the light box itself. This is a good example of the kind of quartz, the way that looks when it's transparent. It's kind of like a sugar agate or just quartzite. Okay, clean this up and move on to the less than quarter-inch fraction. This is where I hope the light table really starts paying off. Already see a little bit of zircon here. I'll just separate out those ones too and get rid of them later. There's a sapphire. There's one. I think this works pretty well. That might be a quartz.
You're such a weird kitty.
There's a sapphire. Now it's almost working too well because all the things that aren't sapphires are transparent too. All the little zircons and bits of quartz. Oh, I already see several sapphires in this one. I think this looks like the biggest one over here. Not done with that spot yet, Cookie. Thank you for pointing that one out. They can't see you, Sokka.
I can grab the cookie if you want.
He's okay, he's just off. That might just be a big quartz, but we'll take it. So, here's a green one, and another green one, and a yellow green. This one's a little platy. This one. There's a nice blue looking one, and another green there. This is a little platy green one. Almost missed that one. Ooh, I'm seeing a few in this one. I'm hoping this is all coming through on the video.
Am I being quiet enough?
You're fine.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
And right on the corner of that was a possible quartz. But it might just be it might be a yellow sapphire. It's just a very small one. There's a couple there, I think.
Noises.
Oh, this is an interesting one. Let's turn on the light. I think that's just a quartzite, but it did look promising there for a minute. There's a couple more. And right here. This one, that's a zircon. A lot of these are just going to be the fun to find category. So I see one in here right away, right here. That one's probably one. There's a little sapphire. That one, oh, that's a quartz. There's a sapphire over there. This is the last of it. And this is what I've been working with the last 20 minutes. Here's what we wound up with after the re-picking, where on the left here was what we found by hand, just doing a quick, not even a thorough survey. But the biggest one is in there. And then on the right side is all the ones that I just found with the light table. I think it made it a lot easier. Didn't have to rely on the sun, which is currently non-existent in this realm.
Well, if you believe my scale today, the total is now 6 grams.
I'd say the light table was a success in terms of finding sapphires. It did make it a lot easier to discriminate between them and a lot of the matrix material. And I don't have sun here right now. It's cloudy and wintry. So I had to improvise, make do with what we could. And I'll put up photos of the finds for today at the end here. And I think there are a few that are large enough to cut. And so once my fastening machine actually gets here, it was supposed to arrive before the new year, but scheduled for today because of a winter weather emergency. Maybe one of the next videos will be cutting and hopefully not messing up the nice sapphires that we found today.